these little parsnips are looking quite good now. Got a true leaf there, so I'm going to put that one and that one in. I'm just going to actually put them in that bed where the peas are there. Nothing really planned for that bed yet, so I think we'll just go with a mixed bed of vegetables. I'll tell you the trouble with trying to video on days like this when it's so bright. You just I cannot see the LCD screen on my camera. So I don't know if it's recording, if the settings are right. I have to set the camera just to automatic. This camera I've got is probably better used on manual settings. You're going to get great results with it, but you just cannot, if you're filming yourself, you just cannot mess about with the manual settings every time you want to make a shot or do a shot. But anyway, let's get that little guy in. He's made root to there, you can just see the bottom of that root. So he's kind of double his height with root. Get that in. So these were ample for root coverage, these little tubes. I'm not going to have to dig the ground because the roots aren't that long, so I can just take some of the plug out and plant it straight into the ground. Right there. Oh, one. So there's two there. I'm going to try my best to get them in. These are probably going to cork around now because I've disturbed the root. Not too bothered. It's a bit of an experiment, isn't it? We can come back and see how they've done. Let's put a bit of that nice moist compost in there. Let's hold it up and try and keep the root as straight as I can while I plant it. And then its mate here as well. I've tried this so many times with carrots, you know, trying to hold the root straight, and you know the transplants when you're thinning them out, it just never works, they always fork. Although this soil is really dry on the surface, just down there it's beautiful, beautiful. Just washing the soil around the root, that root ball, just to get it nice and compact. Oh, Mr. Parsnip, you push your root downs, mate. You get your root pushed down, down, down. And here we are on the 28th of May. So these are the little parsnips I put in as seedlings that were grown in those little tubes. This was the first one planted, these two, and then they kind of go down in size as you go down the bed to the later ones that were planted. Just a little bit of weed in here, not too bad. But yeah, they're doing really well. These are Mitsuna, by the way. I put some Mitsuna in with these. There's a few onions, a few bunching onions there as well, for salad onions. So the parsnips as a whole have done really well, guys. I'm going to pull a few of these, some Mitsuna leaves back, so they're not overcrowding those parsnips initially. Well, the parsnips are doing really well so far. I don't know how straight the root's going to be because I've never really transplanted parsnips before, like I wouldn't transplant carrots, but they're growing well up top. If they're forked a little bit or they're a bit twisted, I'm not too bothered because we don't eat many parsnips. If 2 or 3 of these came up, that would be more than enough. We only really have them at Christmas anyway. So I've got a few more things here I want to show you. I want to show you the garlic, which I've just pulled up and it's done really well this year. I also want to show you something magical with my purple sprouting broccoli and the Hurst Greenshaft peas. There's my garlic, guys. It's done exceptionally well this year. I'm really happy with it. I've just taken one of the bulbs up. That is really nice, isn't it? Really nice bulb of garlic there. The trouble is, we never really eat these because I always save the biggest cloves to grow again. Eventually we'll get to a point where we've got huge garlic bulbs and we'll be able to eat some. This is probably one of the better bulbs. Really nice size. And it's just starting to get a little bit of rust on the leaves. See the little spots? There. And there. Bring it in so you can see them. Here you see these little spots. That's rust. And I believe that once you start getting these rust spots on your garlic, it's not going to swell the bulbs anymore. So, you know, you may as well take them out and get them dried. I'll be planting the biggest of these cloves again in October. The purple sprouting broccoli. I'm afraid it's a case of diminishing returns now, because although they're still putting out spears, they're tiny little things. And it's doing its best to go to seed. But 2 days ago I took the net off, because I needed the net to put over, needed the frames and the net to put over the sweet corn. So I thought, well, I'll let the cabbage whites lay eggs all over them, because they're going in the compost bin as soon as I put the beans in this bed. But the strange thing is, for the last 2 days I've been watching the cabbage white butterflies, of which they are abundant at the moment. They are everywhere. And I have been watching them literally just hover past the broccoli and not even land on a leaf. The only one I've seen, and this is dozens and dozens of them, and I've just seen one cabbage white. It landed on one of these flowers here. It was sucking on the nectar, then it just flew off. So wow, guys, the cabbage whites have left the brassicas alone. There's one flown over now, just gone over. And as well as that, there's no clubroot on these at all, and they're just an open pollinated. They're not an F1 fancy hybrid. Bog standard purple broccoli. And have they reached that magical state from this soil where cabbage white butterflies and other insects just don't find them attractive? Because the plants are so healthy. I mean, they are really healthy looking broccoli, these. And even though they're small, you can still go around now. Every 2 days you can go around these plants and pull off these spears, and you can get enough for a meal. And there we go, another nice portion of broccoli for tonight. Absolutely beautiful. My peas here still in the gutter. I'm pretty sure they'd be okay if I put them outside, but I'm just going to make them wait a few more days until these nighttime temperatures lift, which they're going to do towards the end. Over the next couple of days they're going to come up to 5 or 6 degrees, because I think we've been getting slight frosts out here at night. There's going to be maybe a 3 degrees drop in temperature tonight, so about 3 centigrade it says on the forecast. It'll probably be colder, but I just want to put these peas in, get them in the ground, these Hurst Greenshaft. So I'm just going to drop them in here. When you're doing these, just lift the gutter right up. And then if they're a bit bunched up, you can just kind of jiggle them along a little bit, you know, like that. And that, guys, is the peas in. I'll probably put a bit of fleece on them before I go tonight, just in case it does drop down a little bit lower. But I think they'll be all right. And here we are with the Hurst Greenshaft on the 28th of May. As you can see, there's plenty of peas on them now. They're making some lovely peas. Probably only going to be a few days before these are starting to come ready now. They've made it to the top of the net here. I have been putting this really fine mesh net, just drapesing it over the top here, because the pigeons unfortunately will sort of do a belly flop onto here and then just eat all the tops of them out. So the net is just there to prevent those pigeons doing that. That's all it needs. Stop them getting in. They tend not to attack the peas on the sides. The only peas they will attack on the sides are the peas at the bottom that they can walk up and down and, you know, and peck at. But yeah, so far they've left them alone this year, which I'm really pleased about. So that's the Hurst Greenshaft peas, guys. Doing really well. Thanks for watching.